So in all honesty, it's been really quite difficult for me to get into the studio of late on a regular rhythm, if you like, getting back into my regular rhythm after being away. And that's partly to do with being away and trying to, get back into your life, as it were. We can get out of routine and then sometimes it's quite difficult to land again, isn't it? And partly to do with having a poorly back. Hip. I'm in the midst of getting that sorted out and I've come in today. Basically, I'm showing up. James has really kindly brought me in today because it's not really easy for me to drive and he needed to come in anyways.
There's no pressure with this one at all, it's just literally doing it for the process.
Just some journaling really, and I've set up this, it's a big journal for me, this. So this is about A4. If you know me, then you know I work, a bit smaller. So this is probably about A5, and this is the smaller Moleskine, where this one is, pretty big. Look, that's the Moleskine I normally use, and then this one is the big one, so you can kind of see. And I just set up a new journal really, so I thought I could share with you how I've done that, because that's often quite fun, isn't it, starting a new journal. And I would just show you how I've gone about setting it up. And I've not done a lot in here at all, just basically starting on a couple of pages and then the back page as well. So a low pressure approach to getting back into creativity. We like that, don't we?
I woke up this morning and sat writing in my journal for a while and was thinking about safe spaces and how a journal is a helpful, safe writing space. Words to inspire, process, problem solve, and generally heal our souls. I often reminisce on my younger days, where I often felt so lonely and outside of any normal social circles, due to feeling like a complete misfit whilst growing up, and even throughout my 20s, 30s, and even into my 40s too. We've talked about this in here before, haven't we? And I know I'm not the only one by any means. And even if perhaps I realised quite late in life really, that we do have everything we need inside us, it's just sometimes that we may forget during the times when life gets busy. I love the process of journaling for these gentle reminders, and then having a tangible object, i.e. our pages, in our possession, to hold and have in our faces so we don't forget so often.
reading a book, or I should say I'm rereading a book, all about women and alcohol, and it's about this particular woman who's given up alcohol. I might have mentioned in here, but I can't remember when, but I have actually given up alcohol, and so I have been completely sober for over a year now, because I decided to quit drinking wine, which is the alcohol, my poison of choice, shall we say. I decided to quit that last January, and so I'm still going strong with that, and it's been a really interesting ride. And so along my journey of understanding my relationship with alcohol, and in fact other things as well, you know, we can become addicted to sugar. I think I'm a little bit addicted to sugar at the minute, but anyway, you know, I'm not perfect, and I'm not claiming to be, but the book I'm reading is really interesting because it's talking about the process of writing and how it's helping this woman to process all her emotions and the stuff that goes on around alcohol, if you like, because it's a really interesting process. You have to let me know in the comments if, you know, if this kind of relates to you, you kind of understand and you think, you know, unravel my relationship with an addiction to something. You know, we as human beings can naturally veer towards our comforts, particularly when times get bumpy. And I noticed that particularly in the lockdown, the first into the second lockdown here, I was getting a lot of wine every night, and so it was becoming an every night thing. And I was thinking, no, that is getting a little bit too much of a comfy routine, if you like. And so I wanted to shake myself out of that. And I'm very much an all or nothing person. I am not a moderator naturally at all. So it's much easier for me to just cold turkey and quit. And yeah, some of it's been really quite challenging, I have to say, because that's immediately taken off my, you know, where a glass of wine or two or three or four, depending, it can just blur, can't it, the edges. So the sharp edges of life, you can come home and you can kind of soften things and put like a soft glow over things, like a rosy coloured pair of spectacle on things, and it just softened things up initially. It's very interesting actually what alcohol does when you look at the kind of physical aspects of it. But anyway, without going too much into that, we have a situation where we take that away, where everything becomes really hard-edged and confrontational. And I noticed myself that it was a really bumpy time emotionally, where I was feeling really emotional about a lot of things because I wasn't able to soften the edges with a glass of wine at the end of the day. So that's been a really interesting process. Yeah, so just reading this book, it's actually called Mrs. D is Going Without. Lotta Dean, I think, but I'll put it up there. And yeah, she's just going through the emotional roller coaster of, you know, I think it's about sort of 2 or 3 months in for me, it was anyway, where it really started to be like, I was just getting into my routine of like not having a glass of wine, not having any alcohol when I got home at the end of the day. And I was kind of getting into a little bit of a rhythm with that, and it was okay. Felt a bit strange to start with, and then it was okay. And then I began to have these emotional waves, and it was really powerful and really strong. And some of them were quite challenging to ride the waves, if you like, and you felt like you were drowning a little bit. And it was like, what is going on? Am I, you know, going a bit crazy? But it's all a journey, isn't it? A self-discovery journey, and that's an interesting one. So I was looking in here, and the quote I've put at the front of my journal, is it going to focus? The role of a writer is not to say what we all can say, but what we are unable to say and ain't in. And I was thinking about that this morning, because I think often it's really much, much harder to actually say something, isn't it? Say something out loud to somebody else, or even to ourselves in the mirror sometimes, rather than writing it down. And so that's where, you know, another benefit of journaling comes in. And I wanted to have a specific journal for decorative, but basically my writing ideas, my big writing ideas, because I have a lot of them, as well as, you know, doing all my paintings and stuff like that. So I wanted a place to put them, if you like. So even though I've not been in much to paint, I have done a little bit of painting, and I started a new one last week, and so I'm going to be working a little bit more on this one in the coming days. And she's completely from my imagination, this one, so I'm really enjoying the freedom and staying as loose as I possibly can, because that's often not the easy part, is it? And I'm sure I'm not the only one. And I think as well, you know, when you're feeling tight and in pain in your body, like at the moment, it can transfer into your creative outputs, can't it? Paintings and whatever it is that we're creating. So I'm trying really hard to not do that.
The warm, I just added a little bit of blue, and I added a little bit of yellow, because then that will cancel out because it's complementary.
I've had some really wild ideas as well, or a wild idea which could tick a few boxes, and it's something that I don't know the outcome of yet, but it's something that I'm just putting my feelers out for, if you like, because it could be the perfect solution to all sorts of boxes I want to tick, if you like. So I've literally been dragging James all over the place to view a few vans. Yes, all sorts of different vans. I think I'm feeling a bit stuck with all the current housing market and that kind of thing. So I think I've talked about that a few times in previous videos, and even taken you house hunting with me, haven't I? So I thought I might take you van hunting with me, and I can show you my options, and then you can let me know what you think. Even though James and I are really experienced with vans and layouts and comfort levels and logistics and ergonomics, all very important, it's still quite difficult for us to try and work out our needs and which boxes we want to tick for the different scenarios that the van covers, if you like.
So during the last few weeks, during my time of being incapacitated, shall we say, because of, feeling a little bit poorly and needing chance to slow down and heal my back, I've been doing a little bit of research on some vans. So we're just doing a few viewings of a few different types of vans, and after my hours and hours of research on what was available, what's on the market right now, if you like, there of course are different types of vans. So we decided to go and see this little auto sleeper, which is obviously all kitted out professionally with its ready-made interior. So it's not a self-build, in other words, this one.
What did you want to look at?
And I do love self-builds, and so does James, for all sorts of reasons, mainly being they have loads and loads of character. And maybe this kind of van has less character, but it's a really, really old van, this, kind of a classic, and it might just tick quite a lot of boxes. I'd shortlisted, I think, 3 or 4 different ones, and this just happened to be the first one. And later on I'll show you a completely different van, a self-build as well, so you've got a really good comparison between the two types, if you like. And as with anything, there's positives and negatives that go with each type, including a main consideration for us, which is size of the van. So how long, how big do we want the van? And so for our particular needs, we definitely want something that we can stand up in, something that James can stand up in, because obviously he's taller than me, and also that we can sleep comfortably, because, you know, James is quite tall, so we need something that's going to be comfortable for him. And of course, the main benefit of having a smaller van is that it can go into narrower lanes and smaller villages and hills and things like that. So that's a really important consideration for us as well. And then that one, pull it out for me please, because I can't do it the other angle. That's it. I'm sure I'll get the hang of it, but...
Yeah, this time of year everything's a slightly, because it's been so cold last night.
Yeah.
But it's cute,
It is.
isn't it?
Because they're the kind of really expensive brand, but
Oh, okay.
I know there are lots of
Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, essentially that's a control panel. You just turn it on. It takes a few minutes.
Yeah,
Anything in front of it if they're going to use it.
Yes.
But
The exhaust, I guess, goes down to the van because it needs fresh air, doesn't it, to breathe?
yeah, we don't want people to rely on it. We'd still say using yours.
Yeah. It's a U-shape.
Is it? Well, I'll be up there stargazing. No.
Could probably climb up it.
Yeah? Or maybe I will in a minute.
It's nice having a vent as well above the kitchen.
Thanks for bringing me to see it.
It is interesting.
That's not an investment piece, that.
It's going around the corner and
What?
and getting a bit, you know, when you get a bit dizzy because it's like there's a fixed object of the moon and the clouds are blowing. It's a bit funky, isn't it?
Horrible. But I don't like them because it's too... Is this same age? Or...
This is the same age.
Basically, we've got the front lockers and the beds are the same as yesterday, and then this is slightly different with extra storage up here. Okay, and then the cooker's different in this one. Look at that's posh. The kitchen's different, so it doesn't have the thing that goes... I think this is sweet. And then the bathroom is exactly the same, but it doesn't have nasties. And there's me, very cold, quite a tidy girl. This one's very clean and tidy, darling. Honey, do you remember yesterday? Yesterday's van, did it have a skylight up there? Big problem with this one is, don't know if the camera's picking up a crack, but it's a really bad crack in this window, so I don't know if we could get that replaced. And then there is actually a crack, smaller crack, just here on this window, and also some cracks on this kitchen window as well, just some smaller ones, but still very cute and obviously old. So, and I might be being a little bit mysterious in not sharing exactly my plans for why I want a van right now, but my thought process is kind of going off in all sorts of different directions, and I just need to let that settle before I make a decision, and then I can share that more openly on here. Suffice to say, I want to keep my options open to all the scenarios I've got ideas for. And I don't know whether I need to do a little kind of channel update to let you know what's happening, because I have been a little bit intermittent with my videos recently, and I know you don't mind. Most of you are fine with that and very understanding indeed, and all I get is, oh well, I missed you, and that's really nice to hear. I think it's been really good as well for me to have a little bit of a break, so I'm having a forced slowdown, if you like, which is really good, and I'm listening to my body and being good, and that's kind of naturally settled into this kind of fortnightly upload, if you like. So I hope that's okay for now, and then I'll get back to my weeklies hopefully as soon as I can. And even though I know you understand and it's completely okay, I just wanted to say a couple of things about that and explain as well, because you know, I appreciate your support every week, and so if there is a situation where there is a little gap between videos and maybe you are wondering where I am, you can always go to the community tab here. So if you go to my YouTube channel page, there's some tabs across the top. I'm not sure what they all say, but one of them says community, and you can click on that, and I will probably, if not definitely, have put a little note up, a little note to say, you know, where I am and stuff, so you know there's nothing to worry about. And you can leave me a little message on there as well, or you can go to the Instagram. I'm usually on the Instagram as well, so the Instagram stories, or I usually post up there about 3 times a week as well. And I'm still around posting in my Patreon as well. I think the gaps in my YouTube videos lately, I think that's been mainly to do with me not being able to get to the studio, or not feeling I want to, in the sense I feel like I want to rest instead. So taking note of my body messages and self-care to the max, if that makes sense. So with me not coming in, then I'm not sort of filming myself doing stuff out and about in the studio. And yeah, that's a big part of why I've not been putting the videos up. You know, if I'm sat in the bed office cold chilling, shall we say, or working, you know, from the bed office, I don't necessarily want to put the camera on, because, you know, it's not the most interesting thing for you to watch anyway. So I think the other thing as well is I really don't want to put a video up just for the sake of it, which, you know, I could put something together and then just throw it up, but you know, if I haven't got anything important to tell you, then yeah, does that make sense? I hope it does. Anyway, I feel like I'm waffling now, so maybe I should get on with something. I might potter and tidy up a little bit in here, because I haven't got long. I'm going to my second Bowen treatment, so hopefully I'll be feeling better by the time I next talk to you. Fingers crossed. I really appreciate you watching and keeping me company anyway, even though I'm not my best at the moment. And so the only thing left to say is try to keep your lights shining bright, and I will see you in the next one. So bye for now.